Welcome to AcademicCubed, an exciting new programme for personal empowerment and personal regeneration. Len, can you tell us a little bit about the background to the programme?
We've all come at this from different angles, you from the university, you from the business community, and myself from the coaching. And what we found is that, particularly over the last few years with the economic crisis sweeping around Europe, and we looked at the different kinds of interventions that are taking place. And we found these people being angry, victims, disempowered, working pretty much on their own. The solutions in place at the time was a very much top-down approach, i.e. the authorities or the establishments trying to give training solutions to individuals to teach them how to do things with the hope that that would help them transform themselves with limited results. So we put our heads together and we found better ways of doing that, and that sort of came together, and that's how the AcademicCubed came about.
And one of those programmes, of course, was the Silver Academy, where we took a group of 100 unemployed managers over the age of 50, and we used the AcademicCubed methodology to help them start their own businesses, and many of them, of course, were very successful in doing that. Businesses were involved. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, Ross?
The purpose of businesses getting involved with the programme was really because the individuals within it wanted to find their own solutions. They wanted to be more enterprising in the way that they addressed some of these problems of victimhood, the problems that they were seeing in terms of not being able to shape their own futures and shape their destinies. And they saw that businesses were the model that they were really identifying with. And they weren't necessarily always looking to create what we might consider to be a standard business model. So we identified that the bridging point was with the SME community, and they were still the most capable of being able to help mentor and address the needs of the burgeoning micro business.
So let's be clear here. This is not a training programme in the traditional sense. So how does it differ to a training programme?
In training programs, typically the trainer has the knowledge, and training programs tend to be some kind of knowledge transfer, where how to do something, how to achieve something is transferred. The traditional sort of environment would be a classroom environment. Of course, for many people it has a disempowering effect because it just reinforces what they don't know, and how to do it is actually a small component. The motivation, the personal confidence, the beliefs, the need to elevate their lives and their personal identity is actually more significant. And in addition to bringing the business community, what we realised, of course, is that people have knowledge, people have experience, life experience, they have academic backgrounds, but when one person is working on their own, they have limited knowledge, they have limited experience, and they have limited skills.
What we then did was say, well, anybody in this room got experience in marketing, and there were ex-marketing directors in the room. So what we actually did was put these people into the groups, as you say, action learning sets, a sort of group coaching, if you like, and therefore the people in the room, with all their skills and competencies, they were the resource for this community that we built.
What we also tried to do was make sure that we didn't provide solutions, because if the group is to be truly enterprising, it must come to find its own solutions. And so we have, through this peer mentoring approach, an ability for them to really challenge themselves, to become more enterprising, to become more competent, more capable, outside of their usual paradigm. If you bring in some solutions, as Len has said, that becomes a teaching model, and everybody is then looking for somebody to give them a business answer. And that's the difference between an employee and somebody who is setting about to set up an enterprise. The fundamental difference is that they have to find their own answers and shape their own solutions and drive their own ambitions. And that's not always the case within an employed environment. And it was that journey of transformation that was being addressed. And the best way to have any journey like that is to share it with others, share those experiences.
Of course, another important element of the Silver Academy were the virtual boardrooms.
Yes, virtual board was a key part of our strategy. And just to step back, the whole thing is to help people realise that they have the solutions within them, that they can build confidence in their ability to apply it, and also to realise that by working together they can achieve a hell of a lot more than by working. And it was quite interesting that one of the goals was to create this community of practice that would then carry on working with each other after our interventions. And our interventions was just to facilitate this group of 100 people to work together.
Yeah.
And it was a 6-month program. We only worked one day a month with them. And the goal was, after the 6 months, was to help them carry that momentum going.
Yes.
And that project finished over 2 years ago.
And some of the groups are still going.
And there's 30 of them that still, they're on LinkedIn, they communicate quite regularly, and they hold monthly meetings. And this is 2 years after the intervention finished. And interestingly, they still keep the virtual board, which they've found to be the most successful.
Yes.
They've also adapted it.
Yeah.
In that they've taken the models and they have merged certain elements and they've created their own way of operating. So when you go to see them working, they are coming together in forms of virtual boardroom, but very much operating according to their own style, their own individuality, their own personality has come into play. And I think that's probably the secret of a sustainable legacy. The fact that they take it to themselves and they develop it, and the program is run in their own style and to their own need. And they've created leadership groups amongst themselves. You can see those that are taking forward some of the ideas and are helping others to take them forward as well. So there's some natural leadership that comes through, which has replaced the program. And that was, in fact, one of the main goals of the program.
It was indeed.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things as well is that if we look at the whole EU and we look at the size and the scale of the problem and the millions of people who could benefit from some kind of help, support, intervention, and when we try and cost it, the traditional model of training and delivering solutions to finance such an operation is just not feasible, because it's just too expensive to run that kind of program. And of course, if you can actually do the minimum amount of intervention and empower people to be able to then go out there and find their own solutions, and even better, to have a cascading effect where they can have that same empowering effect on others, then suddenly you create this ripple. And the classic thing is, we're not feeding them, we're teaching them how to fish. And that came out of the research that we did, and it proved the point that actually you can have much more effective interventions if you step away from the old training model, the old teaching model, and look at this from an empowering point of view, and how can we help people in communities work together to solve their own issues. And part of it is to identify the problems and the challenges, because some of the people we found in the course didn't even know what questions to ask or how to actually go about. So part of our model was to help them be clearer about the questions, to ask more empowering questions, and then that set them down the road of finding more empowering solutions. The results that we got, even just after 6 months, was much more effective than any of the interventions they had provided.
Yes. We've talked so far about our experience of running the Silver Academy, which was for older unemployed managers. So is the whole idea of AcademicCubed specific to older people?
We have already looked at student enterprise, graduate enterprise. There are community needs, there are pockets of community pockets where enterprise is not really a natural element within the society. There are, as you say, specific groups that are not entirely age defined, but are actually coming through various parts of their career, and particularly if industry sectors are dying and transformation is needed there. The whole purpose of this is to find and work with people with common cause. And where you find that, and you can engender a spirit of change, a spirit of transformation, where there is genuinely a common cause, a common good that they can work towards, then this intervention and these approaches will work. We have proven it to have real legs. We've proven that it is sustainable within the over 50s marketplace. We've proven that there is a great deal of demand within the student marketplace, and there's an awful lot of organisations, delivery agencies and funding bodies that are interested in the approach and how it can really provide solutions. But the test is to go out and build the community, make sure the community is of a size that works, not so large that it becomes disjointed, or so small that it doesn't really provide the skill sets that are needed. If you get the right size and you get the right commitment, then I think it is very, very adaptable in a lot of environments.
AcademicCubed will help you generate the tools for personal empowerment, take control of your future, collaborate as a group to achieve individual outcomes through a common cause, and create a self-sustaining community.